Hi, welcome back to episode number 7 of our Breathe and Be Still series. So today I want to talk about how to use your breath to stop anxiety before it starts to spiral. So this is not medical advice, it's just a tool that may be helpful. So that feeling when the breath starts to shorten, the chest tightens, the mind starts to race. So the breath is not just a symptom of anxiety, but it's also a way out of anxiety. So why does anxiety kind of hijack our breath? It has an impact on our sympathetic nervous system, which sets us into that fight and flight response. So our breath accelerates, our heart rate goes up. Often we open our mouth and start to breathe in and out through the mouth, which then drops our carbon dioxide levels. And we discussed that in a previous session about the Bohr effect and how that then has an impact on where our oxygen is moving into our body. So Patanjali, the yogi sage who organized the Yoga Sutras into the book, he talked about Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha, the fluctuations of the mind, and one of the fundamental human challenges, he believed, was this racing mind that we often get. And so he also recommended breath as one of the ways to cease and ease these fluctuations. So again, yoga and science coming together with a similar philosophy, similar outcome. The yogis have known it for years without needing science, but science has confirmed what the yogis knew. So I wanted to start with just a gentle cat and cow movement, and we're going to use our arms, incorporate that. If you don't feel like you're in a state that movement feels right for you, you could just do the breath without adding the movement. Why I'm adding some movement is that sometimes when we're feeling anxious, we're so in our head that sometimes movement really helps to bring us into our bodies. So the cat and cow movement is where we are rounding our spine, drawing our navel back, and opening our chest back and forward. I'm just going to kind of pretend to sit here for you. So it's this kind of movement. We're looking forward and curling in. Okay, but we're going to add our arms because that gives us some space to our breathing muscles. So when we open our chest, we're expanding the real estate in the front part of our lungs, widening our collarbones. And when we curl in, we're creating space in the back part of the body. So find a nice tall spine to start with. We're just going to bring the arms up into a goalpost shape. So my arms are in line with my shoulders, palms facing forward. As you inhale, we're going to keep the breath really slow because remember, actually I'll pop my arms down. Remember, long, slow, gentle, deep breath into the diaphragm is really going to signal into our nervous system that we're okay, that we can calm down. So we're incorporating that beautiful slow exhale and lovely long slow inhale into movement just to help to calm ourselves down. Okay, so bring the arms up and we're going to inhale, lift the chest, broaden the collarbones, look up. Long slow exhale as you bring the forearms together, chin to chest, make the exhale a little longer, curl into that ball and just empty the breath. And then we inhale, slowly lifting and opening. Exhale. Remember, in and out through the nose. Seeing if you could make your exhale longer than the inhale. Just find your own rhythm. Doesn't have to be the same pace as mine. If it feels okay for you at the end of the exhale, whether you're moving with me or not, just see if you could hold the breath for a beat on the exhale and then inhaling, lifting back up and opening the chest. 2 more like that. Exhale. Pause at the end of the exhale. Inhale to lift back up. Last one. Long, slow exhale. Pause if that feels okay for you. And then inhaling. And then just sitting upright, turn the palms to face upwards, relax into the shoulders, and just take a few breaths here, natural breaths in and out through the nose, and just notice if that has had any effect on the mind or the breath. So the next technique I want to teach you comes from the work of the Oxygen Advantage, Patrick McEwen's work, and it's called Many Small Breath Holds. This is going to introduce a tolerable air hunger, and remember we've talked about in previous sessions as to why we want an air hunger, so we can increase our carbon dioxide tolerance, which then has an impact on where and the release of the blood of the oxygen from the red blood cells so that they can move into the brain, into the organs, into the periphery. And it also has a calming effect for our nervous system. It's often what's referred to as a warm-up for some of the other breathing techniques. And this one we breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, hold the nose, pinch the nose shut, and you count for 3 to 5 seconds. If you have panic disorder or anxiety and that feels too long, then just hold the nose and take 1 or 2 counts and then breathe back in. I'm going to pop my glasses off. We don't want the breath to feel strained, and we don't want you to feel more anxious about it. Remember, we are looking to increase our carbon dioxide, so we're getting that oxygen exchange. We're also getting a buildup of nasal nitric oxide in the back of our nasal passages are these little glands that produce nitric oxide, and that's going to give us a better cardiac flow. The blood is going to flow better through the body. It's a vasodilator, and 2, it's also great for our immune system, antibacterial, antimicrobial, and antiviral. So again, we want to find a nice tall spine, a natural breath in through the nose, natural breath out. When you get to the end of the exhale, we're holding the breath out and counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release the nose, breathe back in the nose. Couple of natural breaths here. And again, we breathe in, out, hold the nose, release, breathe back in. You just take a few natural breaths in between each round. So as you're ready again, remember 5 could be too long for you. So you'll drop it down to 2 or 3. So remember, we breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. We hold the breath on the out breath. We count and we let the breath come back in through the nose. Let's try 5 or 6 rounds like this, okay? So breath in, out, release, breathe back in the nose. Just a couple of natural breaths. Another round. When you're ready, breathe back in and out. Hold the nose. Release, breathe back in the nose. Just 2 natural breaths. This round we could maybe breathe in for 3, out for 3. Hold the breath out and add your count. So in for 3, out for 3. Hold the nose. Breath back in. The next round, I want you just to do that on your own. And then let go of the technique, and again just observe and notice the effects of what we call many small breath holds in the oxygen advantage method. Noticing the effects on the mind, on the breath, okay, and the third tool that I'm going to give you is where we cup the hands. The hands are working a little bit like, sometimes you see people wearing training masks, and we cup the hands. We try not to have any space. You want to cup the hands, and we're breathing in and out through the nose, but what it's doing is that we're breathing back in our carbon dioxide. So it's going to increase the carbon dioxide into our bloodstream. Remember, we're talking about this. I know I'm going over it again and again and again, but that's going to move the oxygen into the cells and into the body. It calms the breathing down and the mind, and it interrupts that sympathetic response that we're getting when we're starting to feel stressed and panicked. So again, I'll pop my glasses off. We're cupping our hands to make a little cup, and you're placing them over the nose, over the mouth, so that you're going to block out any other air coming in. Only you're going to breathe back into your hands, and you're going to breathe back in and out through your nose. If you can, for in for 3, out for 3. In for 3, out for 3. There's no holding. It's just we breathe in and breathe out. And as we breathe out, we breathe carbon dioxide back into our hands, and we breathe that back in. Please, anyone in their first trimester of pregnancy, this is not a tool for you. You could use one of the other tools. And so cupping the hands, bring the hands over the mouth, round the nose, close the mouth, and we breathe in and out through the nose. Keep going. See if you can relax the shoulders. Don't grip around the face too much. Keep things soft. These are also the kind of practices that people would use for altitude training. So breathing in and out through the nose. You may start to feel a want for a breath, a slight air hunger. And remember, that's a positive sign that we're increasing our levels of carbon dioxide, which, I'll say it again, is going to help the body to release the oxygen that's circulating around in the red blood cells. It changes the pH of the body, of the blood, and then those oxygen cells can be sent out to be utilized throughout the body. Just a couple more breaths. And again, when you've finished, just take a moment to observe. Often you'll find that there'll be more saliva in the mouth. The fingers and toes could have started to get a little warmer. So this is just a few tools that might help for you when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, or starting to feel like you are spiraling into anxiety or stress. And again, Patanjali knew it, the wise sage, the yogi sage. Oxygen Advantage teaches this work, and science is now validating and understanding it. So next week we're going to talk about the art of balancing the nervous system through the nose, and some techniques that we can use to either help balance, upregulate or downregulate the nervous system if we need either. Sometimes we need to calm down, sometimes we need a little bit of up and go. So practice those techniques. They're okay for you to use even if you don't suffer from anxiety. They are great ways to just start to build up a tolerance to air hunger and get that carbon dioxide level building up in your body, harnessing our nasal nitric oxide, and improving our breath and our health. Let me know how you're going. Please share, subscribe, like, and I'd love some feedback to know how these techniques are going for you. Namaste.